We're going to be talking more about the New York Times article that claims Michael Cohen secretly recorded Donald Trump. But I want to give you a piece of interesting news that broke a couple of hours ago. The liberal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals actually sided with Second Amendment advocates, backed a lower court's decision to suspend California's ban on high-capacity magazines. Very, very unusual ruling for the Ninth Circuit and a big win for gun owners in the state of California. It seems like things are judicially changing around the country. Let's go back to the Michael Cohen story. So Cohen, according to the New York Times, reportedly recorded conversations where he and then candidate Donald Trump, this was 2 months before the election, discussed a payment to a former Playboy model named Karen McDougal. She claimed to have had an affair with President Trump. Trump campaign spokeswoman today for the 2020 campaign, Hope Hicks, says there was no affair. The woman made it all up. That's where we want to bring in former federal prosecutor, our good friend Larry Klayman, to break this all down. Larry is also the founder of Freedom Watch. Larry, what do you make of this? My first question is, two-part question. A, does this mean that somebody, because Giuliani's admitting, seems to me that these recordings exist. He doesn't seem too concerned about them. So A, does this mean that somebody in DOJ or FBI leaked? And B, wouldn't this be a breach of lawyer-client privilege on the part of Michael Cohen? And I guess C, does it hurt Donald Trump at all?
Well, you're right in all three counts. First of all, this leak probably was caused by Mueller. It's criminal. We've talked about that before, as we have documents coming out on September 4th of communications between Mueller's office and also the media. And if, in fact, we show grand jury leaks, he's gone. We also have our citizens' grand juries. We've talked about that before to hold him accountable. But the other thing is Michael Cohen. He's always struck me as kind of a slippery character. And even though there's one-party consent on conversations, if it emanates there, it's not the ethical thing to do with your client to be recording him and then turning it over to the federal prosecutor. This should have been resisted. They should have taken this up the line. Right now, that's Rudy Giuliani. President's credit opinion and ultimately prepare an impeachment report. And of course, we know it's high crimes or misdemeanors, so it can be anything, basically. The framers didn't define that.
Larry, let me ask you this. Isn't it commonplace for an attorney, for a wealthy, high-profile individual to dole out settlements even if those people did nothing wrong, because they do a simple cost-benefit analysis and say, hey, look, this could cost you the presidency, it could cost you shareholder value, it could cost you an investment of millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, so let's pay them $50,000, make them go away. Commonplace and not illegal, right? You're a former prosecutor.
Yeah, it's commonplace. You're right. It's commonplace and it's not illegal. It's something that I would not do because it's like dealing with terrorists. Okay, once you make that kind of a payment, they're going to come back. And look what Stormy Daniels did, for instance. I mean, she wasn't satisfied with a non-disclosure agreement. She had to become a big star on radio and television with Michael Avenatti, her creepy lawyer, as some people have put it. But yes, I mean, it's not illegal, but I wouldn't recommend it to a client to pay extortion money. I wouldn't. I'd fight it.
Larry, breaking news is that the Ninth Circuit there in California, my old stomping grounds not so long ago, yours currently, upheld a lower court blocking California from banning high capacity magazines. And I just want to know, do you think this means there's been a shift in the Ninth Circuit? Because I don't know about you, but this was a little surprising to me coming out of the Ninth Circuit.
Yeah.
Some of President Trump's nominees have found their way to the Ninth Circuit. Not many. I'm going to have to take a look and see exactly who's involved. But you know what? There are some honest liberals up there. Judge Ronald Gould is a very fine man. And, you know, he has made rulings, you know, against the tide of the politics these days. So maybe someone like Gould was on that panel who actually made a decision that had a lot of merit. Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
Larry Klayman, as always, pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Larry.
Same. God bless. Have a great weekend.
You too.
The same. You know, John, here's the thing that I keep wondering about this New York Times story about this leak that we believe has gone to them from an anonymous source saying that the president, that there's some recording of the president during the campaign.
When he was a private
having
citizen.
a conversation as a private citizen,
candidate.
having a conversation with his attorney, Michael Cohen, about this Playboy model and paying her. Does it even mean that anything actually happened? Because
well, no, Gina, that's a great point. That's what Rudy Giuliani is saying here. Rudy Giuliani is saying, great question.
And Hope Hicks, too.
Yeah,
but I think that we're missing the point.
Rudy says that the recording was less than 2 minutes long and demonstrated that the president did nothing wrong. Rudy's exact quote was, nothing in that conversation suggests that he had any knowledge of it, meaning the recording in advance. Rudy added that Mr. Trump had directed Mr. Cohen that if he even were to make a payment related to the woman, to write a check rather than cash so that it can be properly documented. Giuliani goes on to say, it's powerful exculpatory evidence. It works in Donald Trump's favor. Great question.
As quoted by the New York Times.
As quoted by the New York Times, hit Rudy Giuliani's comments to the New York Times. Rudy doesn't seem too worried about this. Lanny Davis.
But does he ever? That's always kind of been his style.
Fair point. But when Lanny Davis, Michael Cohen's lawyer, is saying no comment, and Hope Hicks is saying for the Trump campaign, we have no knowledge of it, and the claim of the affair is totally untrue, Lanny Davis's no comment says more to me in terms of this hurting Michael Cohen than it does Donald Trump.
Well, and Miranda, don't you think that if it were a bad thing for the president, that perhaps Rudy Giuliani's answer would have been to not comment at all, because it only substantiates the story that he did comment.
That's right.
So if he were worried about it, I don't think he would have commented. Just my
But you heard what Larry Klayman had to say. He said, you know, this is Mueller trying to make.
I believe Mueller. I believe Mueller's people leaked this to damage Donald Trump. Look, Mueller is giving limited immunity to John Podesta's brother, and no one on Team Trump ever got limited immunity. I don't believe Mueller is an ethical actor. Gordon Chang is going to be joining us next to discuss North Korea and the press conference today between Secretary Pompeo and Ambassador Haley. Stick around.